watching. This is Tuesday with Toya. My name is Victoria Fragoso, and today is Tuesday, March 21st. The spring equinox was yesterday. We have a new moon today, and on Thursday, Pluto is going to move into a new sign for the first time since 2008. Yeah, I'm feeling the energy, feeling the vibe, and excited to talk with Robert Richter, a great writer and community builder that I've been working with for about a month now. And he's the owner and host of Local Roots Music Northwest, which produces a syndicated FM radio show, a television concert series, live series, and festivals showcasing music from around the Pacific Northwest. Thanks for everybody who's just joined. Hey, Thea Chayo. Hey, Made Man Music. Ray, how are you? Love the intro. Thank you so much. Hey, Robert, how's it going? Yeah, thank you, everybody. Teresa, congratulations on your wedding and just everything. I'm so happy for you guys. It's a great day. It's a great new beginning. Chico at Chica, welcome. Especially with that new moon that we just had. And yeah, so anyways, just recapping, I'm going to be talking with Robert Richter today. Really excited to speak with him. And this Saturday, we'll actually be co-hosting a seminar about booking festivals in the Pacific Northwest. So it's an educational seminar for musicians. And we're excited to share lots of tips and tricks and lots of extras. It's from 11 to 12:30 at the Mill in Tacoma, and it's only $10. It is 21 plus, and also I recommend, the seating is very limited, so definitely reserve your seat at localrootsmusicnw.com. And in the evening, I'm actually going to be hosting a live concert music event from 5 to 7 p.m., which will feature artists we've had on Local Roots Show in the past, including Maddie Wolf, Jess Pillay, Johnny Duvall, and the band Lele. So, yeah. So as soon as I'm going to play a few songs, we're going to play Robert's song as well, and then we will get into our conversation. And if you are watching the show for the first time, please check out my last episode with Tacoma artist Trusty Sea Creatures. We talked a lot about his creative process and technology, lots of pedal talk, and his hopes to jam with the band someday soon. So I also played my latest release, Honestly, which just came out last week. It's a week old. I went into a deep dive into the production and the lyrics, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. And welcome to Sleepy. And welcome, Boots McMahon. Hello. Wearing different contacts today because I couldn't find my other ones, so it's a little harder to see than usual, but that's okay. I am going to be playing Honestly first on the ukulele. And gonna do that now. Hope you like it.
honestly.
And that was my song, Honestly, that I released last week. I played it on the piano last week, so if you want to take a look at that last episode, you can. And big shout out to Local Roots for playing that, the first song on their playlist this week, so that was really cool. Hey Nina, how's it going? Hi Chad. Welcome. I just want to do like a really big shout out. I wish I could say everybody that I appreciate here right now, but I want to say thank you so much to the city of Tacoma, all the businesses, and to my family for helping me spread the word about this seminar and also about Tuesday with Toya this past 2 weeks. It's a really big world in Tacoma. I've met so many wonderful people. And just want to shout out Charlie of Never Heard Tacoma, Alonzo of Campfire Coffee, Jess and Emily of Kieran Coffee, Sterling and Mia of Cider and Cedar, and Taylor of Tacoma Wine Merchants. There are just so many more that I want to shout out, but I literally take like 10 minutes. There are so many great businesses in Tacoma, so whenever you can, please support local. Yes, and then if you're local, please come to the Mill this Thursday for an awesome show. We're going to do another singer-songwriter spotlight from 6 to 9 p.m., and that is at the Mill on 6th Ave. There is no cover. They've got pizza there, oven-fired right outside, and some really great drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, some wonderful snacks, and then we've got some fantastic songwriters who will be playing that evening. Charlie Wicklander, Karen Miller, Jordan Colson, Lindsay Jackson, and myself will be playing. So add a reminder on your phone for this Thursday at 6 p.m. And don't forget to bring a friend. Thank you for the love on that song, Honestly. I'm going to play another song, 2 more songs, and then get Robert on here. This next one is Conversations, and I'll be playing it on the piano. Hey, Jonathan of Trusty Sea Creatures, welcome. Just shouted out our episode that we did last week. Really great talking to you, and hope you're having a good week. And then Robbie, welcome. Here's Conversations.
Gives many praises, it does to take the taste that the sugar high I get when I breathe in. Love makes many faces, you find yourself in places till you can't see the exit anymore. This is getting quite dangerous. How can I know what we're thinking for sure? This conversation, I can't take it anymore. What are you making those eyes at me for? Love has many graces, it just can't look away. There's nothing like the sight of fire breaking night. Love has many faces, lures you in cases till you can't see the exit anymore. This conversation is getting quite dangerous. How can I know what you're thinking for sure? This conversation, I can't take it anymore. What are you making
for the love on that song. Sounds like Mike, welcome. Martin, welcome. Patty, welcome. Electric Alex, welcome. Hey Daryl, hey Dar, how's it going? Thanks for joining today. That was Conversations, and that was a quarantine song. The way I think about it now is I didn't realize that I probably was thinking about like how like we're all masked up, right? And you can really only see people's eyes when you're going out. So I think maybe that might have influenced a lot of the lyrics. I just realized that. But yeah, so all those great quarantine stories. Yep. Thank you for listening. I'm glad that you guys liked it. And just another shout out if you are an artist in the area or you fancy a little drive to Tacoma and you're curious about booking festivals. We are going to have that seminar, Robert and I, on Saturday, March 25th at the Mill in Tacoma, 11 to 12:30, and then a wonderful performance later that evening. It is all 21 plus, even the seminar. It's only $10 at the door, but you should reserve your seat at localrootsmusicnw.com. And then again, that live performance from 5 to 7 p.m. Come back and join us for music from Jess Pillay, Maddie Wolf, Johnny Duvall, and the band Lele. Really quickly, I also want to shout out some releases from the past, well, it's been a while, but Anthony Danza's We Got Plays to Make, released on February 24th. That's an incredible compilation and just all-encompassing album with a lot of great artists on there. And then Alyssa Nunky's just released her song 27. You can find her by searching Fern Spores, and that is her first streaming platform release, 27, just like the number. Great song. I really enjoyed hearing her play it live, so that's why I definitely needed to shout that out. And next week, tune in for a chat with Paul Abner of Tinfoil Top Hat, a wonderful Seattle-based band recommended to me by Kara Jean of the local music scene. So want to shout that out. So again, make sure to join us again next week on Tuesday with Toya. Gonna play you a song that I'm not gonna be playing for a while after this, but it's called Black Cloud, and it's basically how I feel about March. But here it goes.
Planes won't take the pain away. I tried to call for help today with the signals down again.
Thank you so much for listening. That was Black Cloud. Coming to you in April. So yes, that was the last time I'm going to play it. I am going to play it again this Thursday at the Mills, so please be sure to come if you are able. Yeah. Welcome to everybody else who just joined in. Trusty sea creatures. We got some things up our sleeves for sure. Really excited to share more later. But right now we are going to play a song by Robert Richter of Local Roots Music, and then we're going to get him on the live stream and ask a few more questions and talk a little bit about musical history and local roots. 10th year anniversary, so exciting, and lots more to come. So take it away.
In the morning, it greets me with a smile. She's a woman with grace and style. She's a soul lady, my best friend. She's got so much love to say, and she takes me as I am. She's the only one who understands, and she brings out best in this man, and she takes me as I am. Well, she rocks my world, opens my eyes, and she makes me.
So that is a little snippet of Robert Richter music, As I Am. Wonderful song, and so cool to be able to talk to the man who wrote it, who's also responsible. And inviting him now. I'm not sure if that works sometimes. Oh, right. Here we go.
Here?
Hello.
Okay, I'm going to have to turn this around. There we are. We turned it around. Okay.
Hi, Robert. How's it going?
Oh, good. I'm going to get myself centered a little better here. Great music, Toya. That is fantastic music you have. Really nice.
Thank
really
you
nice.
so much. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your song as well. So you shared with me that you wrote it as an anniversary gift to your wife. I think that's wonderful.
Yes.
So cool.
Actually, I did a whole, I had a, if you've been married as long as I have, each year you had to write a song. So I have, people said, gosh, you must have an album by now. No. I have more than an album. I have a box set.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
One song per year. So 35 years. 35 years.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Really cool.
So, yes.
And wonderful that you have such a wonderful muse as well. I think that's what's great about relationships in general. You can find any way to celebrate that or discuss it in a song, which, you know, might not be appreciated in certain instances by other people, but that's what it is to be, you know, with a songwriter. You're probably gonna have a song written about you, so got to deal with it.
Yes, absolutely. But there's been no objections, believe me.
That's great. And when did you start writing songs and doing music yourself?
Well, here's how it works. And I think a lot of folks get influenced. My father was a musician, and he was saxophone, piano, pretty much played more of a jazz type sound. And so we were always around the piano growing up. So the piano and the guitar and all that were something that I picked up early. But really, you focused on your career and what you wanted to do educational-wise, you know, when you're growing up. And I grew up in Portland. So pretty much, I've always did music as this thing on the side, as a lot of people do. And then I went through my career. I've done so many things. It would take forever to get through. But among them, I've worked for public radio as an announcer. I worked for a major newspaper as a correspondent, we call it. And I did business news. I've written a book on small business. I owned a staffing business and consulting company for 10 years, and I sold it. So I have so many things. It's just so many different things. I think life is full of chapters, and you go to one chapter to the next. I've never been just wanting to do one thing. I wanted to try different things. But the music, to answer your question, has always been a part of that, sort of the thing on the side. Then when I was able to, quote, retire from day-to-day business and do music full time, it became a passion, and it's just been just a wonderful thing. But my philosophy for music is not just for myself, but with local roots, as we go into that, it's to celebrate the local musicians here in the Northwest and to support others. I'm all about community, and that's what we're about. Yeah.
Amazing. Incredible. Yeah. And so you support community in so many different ways with Local Roots. How did you get the idea to even start Local Roots?
Well, what happened was I was offered a radio show. Actually, I came up with the idea of this radio show, and I was turned down. This happens to a lot of people. I was turned down by a lot of stations in the Portland area, so I went down to Salem, Oregon, and I was able to get on the air there as a startup company about 10 years ago. And then I just developed it from there. And I realized in community, what if we just did, I figured it was too narrow to do like small, like one town or one city. So I chose to do Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, and maybe Idaho, and a little bit of that, and focus on Northwest artists. And I realized as I started doing this on the radio show, well, we could do live concerts, we could do events, we can get people together and do networking, and we started doing that. So my friend Carlos and I started it together. He was the sound engineer. We started doing the live series, which is concerts, and we put them on our radio show. And I started the radio show. It's been on the same time for 10 years at the flagship station on KMUZ in Salem for 10 years. And then over the last few years, we've syndicated the show, and we're on four different FM stations around the Northwest. So the whole thing is about bringing musicians together and getting the talent that we have here in the Northwest out to the listeners. We have so much talent here. It's just unbelievable. It's really a good market for music. And you're so talented. I mean, all the people you play, you've seen it on our playlists.
Yes.
I want to get people to help the musicians as well as our community. And that's what it's about. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's incredible. Yeah. And I know and I see every day how much people appreciate you sharing their work. And it is interesting as a musician when you're producing your music, that then once you have a produced track, what do you do with it? How do you get people to hear it?
Right.
How do you share it? So I think it's wonderful that they have such an outlet to celebrate specifically such a niche corner of the U.S. specifically, and celebrate that this piece of collective music that we're all creating and being influenced by and continuing to support. So
what's interesting about that, Toya, is that we're on 4 stations, and royalties are paid. They're small. We know what they are, for airplay. But what's nice about our show is that if we play your music, it's going to be on 4 times. But we're on, in one market, we're on every single day. The radio show is aired on FM radio, and people could listen in their car and everything like that, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time on the air so people can catch your music. And the show is 2 hours and it'll run. But the daily show, we run one regular show, the weekly show, and then 4 other shows during that on the Salem station there that are, I wouldn't say repeats, they're just the best of shows. But when we get down to it, when we look at our the musicians, most musicians, this will be their only, no matter how good you are, this may be their only opportunity to get on FM radio in their entire career. It's really difficult to do. So we perform a service there. But what I like about it too, Toya, this is the best. You can go to our website at localrootsmusicnw.com, and you can listen to your show, and you can listen to me talk about your song.
It's really great, because a lot of the times when I think about radio is, I don't have time to listen to the car, or now my commute is so short, there's just not as much car time, and that's typically where I would spend my time listening to the radio. But now every Sunday I get to play it from my computer, and I can just still listen to the radio, and it's live. It's so cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you think it's so difficult for local musicians to get on radio?
Well, part of it is this, and it's a long story, but let me just put it in a very compact statement. It's basically run by very, very few people at a national, international level. You know, you have your Taylor Swifts and all that, but it's dominated that way. So it's all money driven. It's all driven by short playlists. Well, many, many years ago, you could get on more opportunities to get on the radio, but now the playlists are so narrow and they're just so small, it's very, very difficult. So there's other avenues. So radio is one avenue, but of course we have the streaming world and we have so many other outlets. So it's a lot more difficult than it used to be. You know, I mean, for that to get on FM radio. But the real place to get it is on community radio, and that's what we are. These are all volunteer-run organizations. People, you have to have the passion to want to do this, and that's what's so important. And I think it's really hard for musicians to get their music out there, but we make it easy because they go to our website, we have a submission page, and then we promote it. But more importantly, besides the radio, we do events. Now, one thing that people don't realize, we have a television show over the years, which is on hiatus now, but we have a radio show where we would go and put a concert on. We have one coming up on April 2nd where we'll record it. So we'll record 2 acts and then we'll put the concert, at least pieces of it, and sometimes the whole concert on the radio.
Yes. I loved listening to, sorry, just to say, shout out some of the songs of the day that we've had.
Oh, yeah.
Avalanche by Kristen Granger and True North, and Sisters by Sienna.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that song made me cry. And the fact that it's live, you know, there's this very deep connection that you can hear, and it's just wonderful to be able to have a piece of that and be able to experience that, even though, you know, I wasn't there live to hear it. Just all that nuanced magic. Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely right. What happens with the live series, we will have people come in and do those songs. Now, by the way, that song that True North did hasn't been released yet. In fact, I talked to Kristen last week, and she said that's going to be coming out this summer. They're in the studio recording it. That was done before they released it. And she says, it's a little bit different than the live version. But then she said, that's a nice version.
Yes.
So, and she wrote for her husband. And for their anniversary, as she said. So the thing is that we have now this is kind of an enormous number, but we started doing this 10 years ago. Carlos and I, Carlos would do the engineering and we work together on these and book it. We've recorded, well over 500 concerts, 500 of all local people. And so many of the songs are rarities. They've never been recorded in the studio. One of the things we have found out when you get these live ones, especially when there's jam songs or some energy or in these songs, is that they're totally different than the studio. I will be the first to admit, as I produce a lot of music, I've been in the studio where it's overproduced so much, all the energy comes out. They're good songs, but the live feel is not there. We've had what we're so most very proud of with Local Roots. We've had people on our show who came in and recorded who are now national. Haley Johnson, Haley Hendricks. She toured with Andy DeFranco last year. She's still touring nationally. Liam St. John was on The Voice, and he's now touring around the Northwest. He'll be coming through here pretty soon. And we stay in touch with these people long after they've made the big success. So Haley Johnson's been touring with Katie Tunstall. There you go. You know, so, yeah. Black Horse.
Yes.
So anyway, so it's nice when they come through town, even when they get new music out, they always say hello, and that's really important. It's really know that we caught people early and they remember us. So we feel good about that. Absolutely. But it's all about the musicians, Toya. It is that there's nothing like this. It's so unique because we really have a closeness with them because, you know, it's not just playing things that come in. We communicate with everybody.
Right.
So when you send us a song on our submission, we're going to say, hey, we're going to play this song for you, or it's going to show up on our playlist. So we're talking with you using the social media. And also, hey, we're going to be on this week. So it's great. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, and I love how now that everything is starting to open up a little bit more, getting those live shows to come together and recording them too. That's so cool to be able to do that, and also to share that experience with people who might not be able to see that.
Oh yeah, I think that's definitely the case. And we're going to continue to do that. Now, our new place is going to be in downtown Portland at the Crystal Hotel, which there's the Crystal Ballroom above, but in the basement they have this place called Al's Den. And it's wonderful. There's no windows. It reminds you maybe of, I wouldn't say the Cavern Club because or something like that, but a basement in New York City where you would go down there, a jazz club, and you can watch incredible music, and it's a listening room. There's no bar in there. The bar is outside of the room. So all you have is tables in there with people watching the music, and that's really great. So we've done shows there before, but we're officially going to be playing there. Our shows every first Sunday of the month, beginning April 2nd, and that's ongoing. And we're glad to have you come and play with us on October 1st as part of our 10th anniversary show. I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
I'm more excited about what you're going to play. That's great.
It'll be hard to choose.
Yes. And so, but we expect that to be it's sold out. What's very interesting about our series through the years is that we would have 3, 4, 5 bands play or acts play, and we had all genres. When we first started it, Carlos and I, we would go to venues. They didn't want us to do it. They said, oh, you can't mix genres. You can't have soul and rock and roll and country on the same bill. And they rejected it. So we finally found a venue that agreed they would do that. And so we're laughing because almost every one of our shows sold out for all those years. And it was lined out the door because, and the venue owner says, how are you able to do this? But it was really interesting. So you'd see a country type artist and they'd be talking to the R&B and they'd get along great. And it would be just a real appreciation, sort of like the Grammys. Everybody, is there because they want to support each other. But this was just talent in the room, and I think that was the most important part. Get people together. And as I said before, it's the networking that's so important.
Yeah.
And we're so glad to have you part of helping us out here. You're just amazing. You've been a great shot of energy for us. And with the seminar, I'm real excited about that too, because we care about the musicians and we want to help them in many different ways. And we do these different types of sessions, and this is one that I'm real excited about.
Absolutely. And we see a couple of comments here. Cross genres are beautiful. They make for classics. Absolutely. I mean, It's an unforgettable experience because there's really nothing else out there like it. And I think we've talked about this before too, but sometimes the music that you make isn't the music that you listen to. And sometimes you really connect with, different genres, but you might not write so much in that area.
Right.
So it's really great when you have that opportunity to be able to see and connect with artists outside of your genre and build on that experience.
Well, it's interesting. We would have our series, and Carlos and I, we'd have a good time. We'd mix it all and everything at the end, but we would see people again in a live show somewhere. It says, who's that bass player? Oh, I met him at your series. And so they were playing with them. And then, oh, there's a violinist. Oh, yeah, I saw her at the series, and we put her in our band, and now they're guesting with us. And so everybody would be doing this. They'd meet each other. It was amazing. It's just how it worked. But the recordings are so amazing because we have a treasure trove of these, and we play them on the show. Like we heard the Sienna Christie. We put that in our show last week. People love that. And wasn't that song amazing, though?
Oh, the song is amazing. I just crumbled and cried. It was so good. The lyrics are just so heartfelt and touching. And I never would have heard that song if it weren't for Local Roots. So.
Well, there you go. What's interesting about Sienna, when we met her and put her on the air, she was working full-time in Vancouver and very, very unknown.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who she was, really. And we had a nice chat and talked, and, it was easy, to sit down and whatever. And then in the last year, she's also gone to Nashville. She's toured nationally. And here again, she started with us on our show, and the very first song we played was called Dear Northland, which was great.
Wow. Yes.
And she thanked us for playing that. I remember that. And now look at her, and so it's fun to have. So when we asked her to come back and do a live show with us, she was, wow, yeah. So we had her. And same thing with True North with the other song. So there's a lot of good camaraderie, and that's what we're here to network and have a good time. And it is some work, but it's something that's so valued. People love it.
Yeah, and just to
go ahead.
just to touch on that, networking. Sometimes that becomes like a dirty word, the same way that you were talking about sales, how that's a dirty word to artists and creatives. Let's talk a little bit more about that and how it relates to the seminar, you know, how you learn these skills, but they're essential in order to book festivals and to make you bills and things like that.
Relationships are true no matter what we do in life. I ran my business for many years. It was the relationships. I read about, you know, about how relationships work and communication. It's the little things that really do matter. And this is how you build your brand. It's very interesting when you see people who would have their personality might be stronger than their music, but because they emit such a strong vibe and that charisma, whatever you want to call it, they're able to do very, very well. We all know people who were pretty average singers and musicians, but people love them for other reasons.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's not always about the skill. It's not about how, you know, what happens. It's a lot of things that make what you do good. So as far as relationships, it's good to support everybody. And you got people bring their skills to the table, and I admire anybody willing to get up in front of an audience and do that. That's very hard to do. And I appreciate that. But I think as far as getting into festivals and things, you have to do your homework. I'm going to say this no matter what you do, whether I read my business or you're in school or whatever, you must work hard. It just doesn't happen. And I think if you're in control of your music, you need to really, if you believe in your music, you need to put your best energy into the music and learn all aspects. The big comment I hear from people, oh, I'm no good at booking. I can't do that. Well, make yourself good at it. You have to force yourself to do that. There are people that are shy as could be, but they get on stage and they know it's hard for them to do that, but they break through. Right. And they know they have to do that if they're going to succeed. Now, it's not difficult to do booking, and the way we're going to lay it out in the seminar is really you're going to use common sense. And we're going to break some myths about selling. We're going to break some myths about communicating. But who you know and how you create those relationships are very, very important. One of the things we're going to cover in there is, I'm going to start it out, and I'll give a little tease to anybody coming to the seminar, is that if you look at every city in the state of Oregon and Washington, let's take Washington, for example. How many cities and towns are in the state? 1,000? 2,000? I mean, if we pulled the map out, they still have them these days, but thousands of them. Yeah. And every city, every town in the state of Washington has music. All summer long, outside between June and Labor Day. They're always looking for good quality music. And depending on what you do, there's something for everybody. Whatever you do, whether you're a singer-songwriter, whether you're doing jazz, whether you're doing whatever it is, you can find something there. Yeah. And here's an example. And here's what happens in towns. You have cities that put on events. I played at the city of Tacoma over there at the Seymour, at the thing there, and I did shows there for years. It was a lot of fun. Played in there. I think I told you it was hotter than heck in there because there was a plant of, the plants in there. I thought I was playing in the tropics, but they were booking music, and you wouldn't think that they'd book music, but and then they had large audiences because they were putting it in their newsletter. But here's what it is: in smaller towns, you have chambers of commerce, you have cities, and the people booking these shows are they might be the insurance company secretary. It might be the dentist over here and his assistant, or it might be a real estate broker. They get on these committees in these towns. They're not professional bookers, and they will sit down and say, we need music this year. And so they're very open to whatever you need, if whatever you bring to the table, if you're a fit. So I would find bands is very interesting. They'd work so hard to get into a tavern gig and walk out with $25. And then I'd show them this method. Oh, I played this Tulip Festival and they offered me $800. Yes. See? And they said, and the funny part about it, they said, is this enough?
Wow. See,
Because
it's just about that perspective. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I used to call it low-hanging fruit, and I'll talk about this. Low-hanging fruit is sort of like employment. Well, if you know Microsoft's a big employer, okay, but if you take a company that's so small you never heard of, they might even pay better than them, but you don't know about them.
Yeah.
And I think we always think about that. Northwest Folklife, oh, everybody knows about that, but wait a minute here, there's other festivals and things too. So you have to look for things that are under the radar, but they are there. And part of the research you can do yourself. It's so easy. Now I'm going to tell people, one of the things I will bring up in this is the fact that when you call a chamber of commerce, they're not going to hang up on you. Their job is to greet people, right?
Right.
They're going to be
No,
friendly.
I'm going to talk to you today. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not going to hang up on you. If anything, they will tell you who the music director is, who's booking, and how to do it. I talked to one about a seafood festival last year. She not only gave me, because she gave me the person's phone number and the email and said, well, I'll call them for you and see if they're there.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so it's not, so when people are fearful of doing these things, it's not like you think. It's not at all. They're actually looking for talent. They just don't know where to find it sometimes. And a lot of the festivals, what happens is they'll book the same people over and over again because they don't know where to find other people.
Right.
And that does happen.
Yes.
So I bring it up as because I think there's all kinds of ways to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll cover that.
Yeah, I love that. And it's great to know that that it isn't as scary as it could be, and that there is a space and a place for everyone to play. But depending on what your goals are, you should be looking or thinking about certain areas or venues that maybe don't have the that iconic feel to them, or that are listed in the newspaper all the time. But some places that still need music and will pay really well for that to happen.
They do.
Yeah.
And there's another thing that I encourage people to do, especially if you have property, if you have, an opportunity, a large house or a large yard, put on your own show.
Right.
And it's not difficult to do. If you're in a neighborhood with a neighborhood association, they probably have an email list. Come on over. We're going to have a barbecue and we're going to set up music and chairs in the backyard. I mean, think how simple that is. And you know what? If people can you're in a neighborhood that can walk to your driveway and watch a concert, they will. And that's a wonderful place to share your music and have people see you. So that's a very simple thing to do, but you can do that. I think you have to be a little creative about what you want to do as far as booking festivals and your own events, but you certainly can do that. Now, a lot of people have to realize that if you may say I don't like salesmen, I don't like being sales, but you're doing music, that's what you're doing.
Right. You've got to somehow communicate to somebody else that they should listen to you and should buy your merch or whatever it is, or support you in some way. Just
it doesn't sell itself.
Yeah,
it doesn't sell itself.
Exactly.
I think that's a real good point. But I hope we've helped at least whet the appetite of folks out there that we're going to have a lot of fun on Saturday, because we will. When you leave this on Saturday, you're going to be energized. And we have a guide. I want to tell people we're going to give a free venue guide to them.
Right.
And I really like it because it's, how many, 300 pages? I can't remember what it was. But we're going to give it out for free. And it has venues in every single state in the country. Now, when you put out a guide like this, I tell people it gets out of date the day you put it out, because you're doing your research and things are sold and bought. But for the most part, the addresses and the social media of these companies, even though they may have changed names, will still carry on. So most of the venues are there. So it's a wonderful guide. And that's one way you can check out too. So but we're here to support. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciate everything that you've taught me so far in our conversations. Yep. And thinking about that, and having been doing local roots for 10 years, how have you seen the how have you seen social media play an important or influential role in how music is now distributed and how that sales process is now working in communities?
What it has done is it's because it's been so easy to access. It's created a lot more access for people to get out there, but also a lot more competition.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that you could take out your phone, click on our website in your browser, and listen to our show right now, this second. Let's listen to it. And so I think the access has changed. There's a lot more competition. There's so much out there. There's so much you have to filter. And I think that's the real hard part. Filter how much is out there, and there's so many choices. Also, it makes it challenging in your own town because everybody's trying to get, there's so much competition for the entertainment dollar.
Right.
Whether it be movies, the zoo, different types of things, whatever. Yeah. So it's changed that way. But as far as music and everything, one of the things, if you come down to it, if it's good, it's going to go. It's going to go. And if you listen to our show and you know what I'm talking about, and I've done this, and I'm sure you have shared, we've done this too. We listen to it, and it's amazing what talent we have in our own backyard. I said, I could be listening to a song from somebody from New York or some other, or Europe or whatever, but I'm sitting to listen to somebody that's here in the Northwest, and I just clicked on their link on the Local Roots newsletter, for example, or on or social media. They're playing down the street from me. I can go see this. I could see Toya's show this week. Wow. And I just heard this great song, honestly, so I could go see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of the local show. And so if we look at our playlist on our page, the social media gets it out there, and so people can see it and they can look what's going on. So it's the access. I think that's most important. I know when I started, Facebook was, and so it was about the only thing, it was about 4 years in, 2013. And I remember I would try to share playlists with people, and I would get flagged in those days because you know this person. So, now they encourage it. So there's been some changes through the years. Yeah. Yeah. And when I mean flagged, they'd send you that thing to make sure you're legitimate. Is this a street light,
Right. Yes. Yeah. Are you a robot? What are we talking to?
Yeah, but that was only in the early days. But we're through that now. But most important, we want to encourage people to try. Send us music, and we want to help. And you've been a huge influence on what we do here. You would think in 10 years we know it all, but no, you've brought so much sunshine, some talent. You've given us, our folks, some really wonderful posters. I'm going to tell you, everybody out there, you're the best poster maker I've ever run across.
Oh my goodness, thank you. I do what I can.
It's more than what we can. They're incredible. And I think when people come out to our seminar, it's not just about the information we're going to have, and they'll get a handout, and they'll get information. You're going to meet some people, and just think everybody in that room is going to be a musician, and you might be able to meet somebody and make something happen. Right. I mean, we do, and that's what it's all about. Community and connection. We're proud of our show, 4 stations, and hopefully we'll get some more.
Yes.
We're trying.
Yes, absolutely.
But you brought the positive energy, and I want people to know you're part of what we do here as well for what we do. And we have a bright opportunities of so many things coming forward, so it'll be good.
Absolutely.
Be good.
Yeah, no, I've been excited since we talked, and it's just been really encouraging. And I guess, I know that I don't know it all, so it's good to it's good to be able to keep learning at a rate that I like to learn. And especially people coming to the seminar will be just so overjoyed with information that I think sometimes it can be overwhelming, but a lot of the times I think you're empowering people with knowledge. Knowledge is power. So how, then giving people actionable steps to take is really important, because the information alone is not enough. But I wanted to kind of go back to what we were talking about in terms of the playlists and things, and how, you know, the unique talent that we have in the Pacific Northwest. What do you think, what to you makes a standout track or a standout artist? How do you find that you're able to, you know, decide who you play and things like that?
Well, it's not, of course it's subjective, sort of.
Right.
But it's, for example, in the songwriters, there's a whole lot of things we need to kind of address here. By the way, I should say on the festival, so one thing. One of the things I want to point out is real important about this, and then we'll go to that, is the fact that you got to have credibility. My band is playing at a whole lot of festivals this summer. And so we proved these methods work. You're playing at Folklife. We know, so we have, when we talk to people, it's not someone, oh, they really done it. They're telling me what to do, but do they have any proof? Yes. Go to my website. We're playing huge. We're playing the State Fair. We're playing big events and concerts, and you can just see them on there. And that's what it's about. So that's what I'm saying. It's not just, oh, what are they saying? Have they really done this? Yes. And it's happening now, 2023. So anyway, let's get back to what is good in people. Here's what happens. When I listen to, for example, the first thing is production. I can tell if somebody's using, whether a Logic program at home or something like that, where they may not have everything mixed properly. And let me say one statement that's real important to everybody, and that is you only get one chance to make a first impression. And that's it. So if you send something in that is not quite, you know, your levels have to be there, everything should be mastered. And that's a whole topic in itself.
Sure.
And I get a lot of things people don't understand. What does that mean? It means we put everything at a level that works, and you can hear it in both your speakers, and you can hear everything clearly, and it's balanced properly. I think
ready for radio.
The layman's,
right.
Yes, because we have equipment, and we have where it's going out. We're going to catch everything. If the dog's barking in the background, you'll hear it. Sometimes that's a good thing,
right?
But not necessarily when we're trying to do something like that. But I think production is good. Also, I think emotion, how your arrangements are. I can tell when there's a drum machine, and I can tell when I've actually had people buy karaoke records.
Wow.
And put it in, and then sing over it and send us stuff, you know. And these were cover songs, and I'm thinking, oh my, that's really going to stretch. But you can tell, obviously. But because it's too perfect.
Right.
That's how the record went. But anyway, what we look for, like in the writing and the arrangements and the creativity. Sure, we all borrow from we're all influenced by everybody, but one of the things that's very interesting, Toya, is I can listen to a song and I say, oh, I hear so-and-so. I hear so-and-so. Right. We all have our influences. We can't deny that. But what's really cool is they've taken these influences and they've taken them and made it their own. That's what makes it special. That's really what makes it special. So, in the lyrics, I will look at some and I hear some that are just kind of trying to rhyme, for example. It doesn't work. Actually, it defeats the purpose.
Right.
And that can be a problem. Also, but I think more the production, the energy level. I'm not looking for somebody with a perfect pitched voice at all. In fact, some of the best songs we get are people who just can deliver the song. You know what I'm talking about. And you see that you're a songwriter, but if they could deliver the song, and it really captures your imagination and the feeling. So I hope that answers it.
It does. That's great. And I think I hope anybody who's watching this later will definitely gain a lot of information from that and really understand. It is a subjective thing, but it's also there are certain base levels where you should be at, and if you're not there, then that doesn't mean you'll never get there. That just means this is something to work towards, and that's where now you know where to go next in terms of your songwriting journey and your production journey.
It's good to listen. Listening is so critical, and learning and finding out what you need to do, and you have to put that creativity into it. I've also noticed people a lot of times write about things, and I find out like all of their songs, for example, are, I hate to say this, but are not real happy.
Yeah.
And then other people, and I'm thinking every song in their catalog is not happy. I want to reverse that a little bit. If you're going to do a live show, you don't want people walking out because you made them sad for 2 hours.
Right.
So, I mean, you have to mix it up.
Yes.
And here's the thing I want to talk about with original artists and whatever. The Beatles did cover tunes. Come on. They did. They did Chuck Berry. They did Carl Perkins. They did things. Don't be afraid to take, in fact, we have a song on our playlist, the Britney Spears song from Laure Noir. She's really cool. And she did a Toxic.
Yeah.
She recovered. And she did it well. Did you hear it? It's great.
Yes. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I told her, because she was afraid I wouldn't play her song, I said, no, not at all. It's okay to put that in your show. I think that's really wise, actually. Tom Petty, I remember him in an interview one time. He said they always started with a cover tune, and then they went into their music. And here's a guy that has mega hits he had while he was alive forever, for decades. So it's okay to do those types of things, and you don't feel you can't play original music as mix it in, and that's good for your shows. It's good for festivals.
Yeah.
It's good if you're going to do a place where if you're playing a show in a resort, that helps.
Yes.
Or a hotel. They're okay. So I get a lot of musicians who are afraid to play anything other than their own music, and that's not so. I wouldn't worry about that. It's not.
That's wonderful.
Mix it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about balance.
Yeah, the balance. You said it so well. There's those things, but there's so many good things we could do in here in the Northwest. But it's great to know that we have so much talent here. I mean, if you're listening right now, go to our website at localrootsmusicnw.com and just take 10 minutes and listen to the show. And you're going to hear your song. You're going to hear Moose Almighty. You're going to hear Sienna Christie. You're going to hear these people, and you're going to say, wow, these are our neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's
incredible.
Really good.
Thank you so much for your time today, Robert. I'm super excited for Saturday. I know we're going to have a great time, and also just building the community and getting to meet people in person. I'm super excited to meet Jess Pillay, who will be playing that evening.
So am I.
Maddie Wolf, oh my gosh, her song, I Got Your Back, it carried me through like a few good weeks. And it just, it's.
Aren't you glad Local Roots discovered that song?
Yes, yeah.
I don't think discovered it. I'm not going to take credit, but I remember getting it, and I said, this is great. And the minute I got it, I put it on there, and ever since, everybody's been just really,
Yeah,
well done.
Yes.
And there's a good example, real good example of local. Great. Okay, I'll see you on Saturday.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, everybody who's watched today. And if you're watching this later, please reach out to Robert or I through localrootsmusicnw.com. And it's been a great Tuesday. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you again next week. Or if you're coming to the seminar, we'll see you on Saturday.
Yes.
Bye. All right. Thanks, Robert.
Hey, it was